Wrong screen. One moment, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm hearing some distressed ducks in the distance. I might have to bail real quick. All right, got the right screens, the right charts. We have some news reaction in the broader market right now. I appreciate you all tuning in. Thanks for the likes. Hope you had a good weekend. Just listening real quick to see if Mama Duck needs help. I'll be back in 100 seconds. All right, we're okay. Just a hawk, but no casualties. So, let me catch my breath for a minute. So we had a little bit of FOMO in the crypto space over the weekend, but the big but is coming from the broader market right now. And we just had some bearish news from Apple. So you can see the Nasdaq futures chart here rejecting from resistance. So a double top and staying within our equilibrium at this point. And this Apple news had a significant impact. You can see Apple is dumping. The news was Apple is cutting back spending and freezing hiring and things like that for 2023. And we're going to be hearing that a lot this earnings season, in my opinion. So starting to price some of that in, but again, you can see at 1:30, everything shifted, and it's due to the Apple news. And you can just see the importance of the Apple market, or Apple stock on the market. You go to any individual name right now, and you look at 1:30 p.m., and it's dumping. Let's think of something completely unrelated. Let's look at Cruise Liner, CCL. Well, not as big an impact, but at 1:30, everything's dropping because of correlations. So Nasdaq, big drop. What's Bitcoin doing since 1:30? It's dropping, picking up speed a little bit. So in the end, we have a daily lower high potentially shaping up. And if we get bear follow through from here, we're watching the 4 hour. And if this pullback continues, we'll start to create space for a 4 hour lower high next bounce. And if we see red tomorrow as well, our daily lower highs will be set and we will remain within tightening ranges to start this week. And so we know, even though crypto broke bull, that it's not going anywhere if the broader market bulls do not follow through as well. So that's the key resistance level on the Nasdaq. And there is a lot of space for a daily higher low to form. So it's possible, if we see a bit of bear follow through, that we pull back and form a daily higher low and then a little bit of a bounce. And next thing you know, we're into next week, or we're into the end of this week, still within a tightening daily range. So something to keep an eye out for. But Apple news really helping the bears reject from resistance today. And you look at the S&P 500, same thing. Lower high potentially shaping up. And at 130, the weakness started accelerating big time. So with that, we've got the dollar pulling back on the daily. So I'm watching for monthly consolidation on the dollar. We have a stair-step pattern. And really, aside from 1 month, we have a higher low every single month for the last 3, 6, 9, 12, 14 months. So that's extremely notable. And it's the same as the energy sector. We were looking at the energy sector finally top out. So just keeping an eye on the dollar. And obviously, if you're a bull in crypto or in the stock world, you want to see dollar weakness. And at the moment, we've been pulling back a couple days. Bigger picture, it's still strong. It's just something that we're keeping an eye on. And the bounce in the dollar right now is aligning with the pullback in the broader market, seeing a little bit of inverse relationship between those two. So we're going to keep an eye on the dollar as one of our clues. And in my opinion, the weakness in the dollar from the futures open last night helped the crypto bulls see a big leg up today. Look at these crypto stocks. MARA today had a slow short squeeze. You know, you're used to short squeezes being these fast, hard moves that shoot up. This is a slow grind short squeeze where bulls just gave the bears zero chance to cover and kept on constant pressure. And we shot up 26% from the open today. And it was up 35% from the close of Friday at one point. So the FOMO that we saw in the crypto space over the weekend and into last night translated into FOMO in these crypto stocks and a bit of a mini short squeeze. Riot is about to give us the highest daily volume in many months on today's candle. And we hit a temporary top. And of course, the broader market weakness is having a factor in this pullback. But just interesting to see where FOMO hit. Because FOMO hit our highest risk, highest reward assets. It hit altcoins. It hit these crypto stocks. It also hit cannabis. So CGC, Canadian cannabis today, was up 25% at one point, 20% or so. TLRY was up a big bull move, but again, giving it back. So this morning was marked for me by a whole bunch of risk on to start things. And then as soon as the broader market rejected from resistance, we started to see that risk on fading a good bit and a lot of profit taking. And I did the exact same thing. I saw risk on, I increased my risk in some of these higher risk, higher reward sectors. Psychedelic names, I grabbed some, grabbed a little bit more MJ. And then as soon as I saw the weakness start to show itself from that rejection, I started to unwind. So I went from aggressive and then I unwinded back to just regular core positions and no longer aggressive. And it had to do with the rejection from resistance. And the Apple news was just affirming we're going to reject from resistance to start this week. It's just a question of how much pullback do we see from that rejection. There are back burners to be keeping an eye out for. So just looking at the Trader Pro alert here, we had Ethereum give a 15-minute back burner over the weekend, and that obviously resulted in a lot of follow through. But there are other names, the lead bulls, the names that have been going up the furthest, the hardest on this move, like Matic. We're going to be keeping an eye out for back burners on different time frames. It all depends on how aggressive you are as far as which time frames you're going to be looking at. But I would be watching for potentially 15-minute oversold conditions, looking for a 4-hour higher low. So some back burners are back on the menu. And again, it's only the strongest names where I would be looking for them. So Matic, Ape had a big bull move. Although I don't know if Ape broke both resistance levels. We'll check that in a minute. No, we did. So Ape's certainly going to be looking for a 4-hour higher low to be the result of this consolidation. So names that are looking for 4-hour higher lows are watching for 15-minute oversold conditions for them to potentially shape up. And that's only the most aggressive bulls. And again, I can't be aggressive if the broader stock market is rejecting from resistance. And so that's what you're seeing, in my opinion, is a lot of that risk on mindset saying, well, I don't know, though. We rejected from resistance. I'm a little bit unsure. And so that is where I stand as well. If we had broken resistance in the broader market to follow through with the weekend crypto strength, it would be a much different mindset for me personally in the short term with how aggressive I'd be looking to be. So the Bitcoin divided by Nasdaq chart, we tested resistance and we are just still struggling to get out of this range here. So I consider this still range bound. We got multiple tops. If you don't know what backburner is, Google ChartGuys backburner. There's a whole big long video about it. It's a oversold bounce. Well, it's an oversold bounce play or a bear play, but it comes after trending strong moves. But check out that YouTube video. It will be a lot more in depth than I can tell you right now. So the Bitcoin divided by Nasdaq chart showing us relative strength or relative weakness comparative to the Nasdaq is still stuck. And so we have to see a clear bull break to have a lot of confidence in Bitcoin bull follow through, in my opinion. So I'm still considering this range bound. Yes, we're a lot closer to resistance than we are to support, but unable to break out at this point. Sweetie Pants is hot. So Bitcoin, daily bull break and currently no follow through, which would be the second time that has happened. That's a red flag if we lose the 4-hour uptrend from here. And that's a big if, because if we set a 4-hour high or low and can hold on to some of the bull moves over the last few days, hold on to some of those gains, then that is bulls keeping control. And there's been multiple times on this move up where we pulled back significantly enough where I would have anticipated that a 4-hour lower high would have been the most likely scenario. And we just keep pushing forward to higher highs, which shows some nice buying of the dips, obviously. So right now on Bitcoin, anything above 20.7 is another 4-hour high or low. So it's not game over at this point, but if we lose the 4-hour uptrend from here, it'll be yet another daily resistance break with zero follow through, which will continue to affirm this is a weekly bear flag. It's up to the bulls on the daily time frame to prove to us this is not a weekly bear flag. And the only way that they can do that is by getting follow through on the daily time frame. Now we can make some excuses for the bulls and say, well, we did just come from 19,000 straight up to 22.5 with no daily consolidation. So bulls were a little bit extended. When we tested that resistance, the 4-hour RSI was over 70, which is where we have historically pulled back on these other bounce attempts. So, okay, if you want to make excuses, that's fine, but bulls must set higher lows and follow through. And for me, follow through is, give me 5% above the previous high, which would be upper 23,000s. This bull break is only a couple $100. So at the moment, it is a daily uptrend, but the bull breaks are lacking follow through. And if the bull breaks lack follow through, it's a weekly bear flag shaping up. So if we get the follow through, then we decrease probabilities of the weekly bear flags. We have very different setups right now between Bitcoin and altcoins. Right now, Bitcoin would need to drop 20% for a lower low. Can that happen? Absolutely. But look at Matic. Matic would have to drop from the high of this move. We would need to drop 65% to drop to a lower low. So the probability that the Matic, the bottom, so there's a difference between the bottom and a bottom. We set a bottom in crypto over the last month. Is it the bottom? We can't say yet. We don't have enough information. But if I look at Matic, the bottom is a lot more likely than any other name. Because this entire pullback that we saw on Matic over months and months was a total drop of 89% over months and months. So what is the probability that we're going to see Matic drop another 65-70% to fresh lows? Again, it's possible if Bitcoin drops down towards 10,000, if the broader market drops another 15% from here, it's possible that that happens, but we can say that Matic is not going to break the low that we set down at 316 unless there is very significant, another big wave of very significant fear. would have to happen. So it's not created equal. The probability that Matic has set the bottom is much higher than the probability that Bitcoin has set the bottom. Bitcoin could break 17 and drop down to 15, and Matic is probably still going to be holding its 316 low. So Bitcoin, bulls must follow through on the daily, and if they do not, it is a potential weekly bear flag. We have weekly EMA 12 resistance to be watching as well. If we want to make it simple, we can say as long as weekly EMA 12 is resistance, then the bears have bigger picture control. You know, if I'm a long-term bear and I'm looking at this, definitely recognizing a bunch of opportunity for the bulls on bounces with these altcoins. But I look at this weekly time frame, and there's nothing here that is telling me the bottom is in. So tons of follow-through would be needed to have that kind of confidence with Bitcoin. Nice to get the weekly bounces. So the volume climaxes, again, looking back in hindsight, we got what we were looking for. We were looking for weekly bounces because of the magnitude of this drop, stair-step drop where it's a lower high every single candle for many months in a row. The volume climax was the biggie for me. And I'm glad it followed through because I put my neck out there going on Eric Crown's YouTube channel and also Benjamin Cohen's YouTube channel and saying that I think we're getting a weekly bounce here because of the volume climaxes. And those were some of the biggest audiences that I've ever been in front of. So that was nice, but we're getting the moves. So now what? Now I'm looking for a weekly lower high to be the result of this bounce. That was always the most likely scenario for Ethereum. I had a target of roughly 1600 and weekly EMA 12, which is approaching, but I have to see Bitcoin get another convincing leg up, or we're just going to be looking for a weekly bear flag on Bitcoin and weekly lower highs being set in these altcoins. Need to check in on things real quick as I've got a bounce play in the biotech sector. I'm going to exit that real quick so I can pay attention to you all. Nothing notable, just a little 5-minute oversold bounce. So right now I'm watching a 1-minute stair step. So when I'm looking to exit my biotech sector bounce, when the S&P 500 loses this 1-minute stair step, that's when I'm going to sell. And that will potentially be setting up the 5-minute lower high. Maybe not, but certainly playing counter trend enough for me to use that as a signal to lock in the quick bounce. So we'll wait for the 1-minute stair step pattern to break. I'll sell that position and we'll get back to these altcoin charts. But that's just an example of sometimes how I trade, and I'm using the broader market to dictate what I'm doing in the biotech sector, just like we use Bitcoin to sometimes dictate what we do with altcoins. All right, good enough. Biotech sector had a more significant bounce than the broader market. All right, back to the crypto. So crypto, we know Bitcoin needs follow through. The burden is on bulls. Bitcoin's not going to follow through unless the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 break resistance. So it's all intertwined. And it all boils down to the broader market, in my opinion. Dominance chart for Bitcoin is breaking. We had this sideways range for weeks. It broke bear. And so what does that tell us? That tells us on the move up that we saw over the last couple of days, it is altcoins leading the way up. And that's very obvious. When you look at Matic, you look at Ape, you look at ETH, and you compare it to Bitcoin. Again, if all of crypto looked like Bitcoin, I'd be extremely bearish. Because the altcoins are leading the way up and they're giving themselves more space to work with, I'm a bit more open-minded. But the dominance chart is showing us that the altcoins are leading the way up. Ethereum, so again, nice follow through, weekly EMA 12, still a potential target. We're still in a clear 4-hour uptrend. We haven't even started 4-hour consolidation. So I don't have a big enough position. I did not go aggressive when I was buying the 1,000 break. I went just regular old position size, nothing special for me. And it's, nice to see a 50% bounce. But if I had a larger position size, I would be scaling out every 5 or 10% move up that we see. I would be exiting another 10% of my position. But because my position is smaller, I'm giving it a longer leash and I'm letting it play out. And my target is that weekly EMA 12. And what would I do to shift my target and bail? Probably losing the daily higher lows. Because I can look at this chart and say the most likely scenario for Ethereum the next time we consolidate is a daily higher low compared to 1,000. And so we will either keep the uptrend going and then eventually lose it and I'll exit, or we will pull back enough where I'll say, uh-oh, that's a big pullback. I'm going to exit the next bounce for a daily lower high. But for now, I'm going to let this position play out because it is smaller. So still an hourly uptrend, actually. Ethereum is holding on really well comparative to what the broader market drop just did and the fact that Bitcoin broke resistance with no follow-through. So 4 hour. 4 hour for clarity. If 4 hour uptrends are intact as they have been for the last 3 days, bulls are keeping short-term control. If we lose 4 hour uptrends, we're going to be looking for daily consolidation to potentially be shaping up. ETH BTC is very strong as well. And that has certainly helped with Ethereum being the right choice instead of Bitcoin in terms of playing this bounce. Tightening range broke bull, significant follow through. Tons of space for a daily higher low to be the result of next consolidation. So that's another reason why I'm giving Ethereum a bit of a longer leash, because ETH BTC is showing us strength. And we're back to the spotlight. So what's the spotlight? The spotlight is when the BTC pairing is doing the same thing as the US dollar pairing, or it's stronger. And that is your ideal scenario as a bull or a bear. You want it to be doing the same thing. And so the fact that ETH BTC is in a strong 4 hour uptrend and ETH USD is in a strong 4 hour uptrend, that is also keeping me in this trade a bit longer, letting it play out. So Matic has been a big time bull, and it had that Disney news, and clearly that news has been a catalyst, and we could see that it was standing out as a lead bull. And I wasn't even aware of that Disney news when it initially hit. You could just see on the chart, it's clearly stronger than everybody else, but big time follow through on this move up today. Just have to be cautious of temporary volume climaxes. So the daily time frame is a potential with 5 hours left in the day. I can look at the daily volume and say, well, we need to be a bit cautious for the potential that it's a volume climax. What would we need to see if it were going to be a little climax? We would need to see a loss of the 4 hour uptrend. And again, that's not going to happen anytime soon because we can pull back notably and still be looking for a 4 hour higher low to be the result of that pullback. So aggressive bulls are going to be watching for a 15-minute oversold conditions to be scouting a 4 hour higher low. And we're not close to 15-minute oversold right now, so a lot more pullback would be needed for those conditions to present themselves. I love, if I'm playing a bounce and looking for an entry on consolidation, I love when a time frame's oversold conditions align with a longer term time frame's EMA 12 support. So if 5-minute oversold aligns with hourly EMA 12 support, I have more confidence because that's a confluence of signals. It's more than just one signal. If it's 5-minute oversold and it's floating in space with nothing else nearby, I can't be as confident if it's 5-minute oversold with EMA 12 support, and maybe the EMA support has held the last 3 tests, which is the case here for Matic on the 4 hour. So that can determine a number of things. It can determine the position size that I'll use for that play, or it can determine if I'm entering on the oversold drop or waiting. If I'm being more conservative, I'm waiting for a trend change to try and shape up on the shorter term time frames before I'm making that entry. But if I have a confluence of signal, that is when I will potentially look to enter into the weakness. So it essentially helps determine whether I'm looking to be aggressive or conservative. Determining if I want to grab a short here on this broader market bounce. Still a potential 5-minute bear flag. Might have missed my short opportunity. I'll wait for a 15. No, that was a 15-minute lower high. So Ethereum's strong, Matic is a lead bull, plenty of space for a 4-hour higher low. Matic BTC is in, again, the spotlight. It's doing exactly what bulls want to see. We watch the BTC pairing. If we were to see the BTC pairing lose the 4-hour uptrend before the US dollar pairing, it would give us a clue of relative strength turning into relative weakness. That's not happening right now, but we know it's something we're keeping an eye out for. But Matic BTC will just be looking for a 4-hour higher low to be the result of this next consolidation as well. Ape with a big time bull move today as well. Tightening daily range, broke bull. It was very interesting because Ape had, over the weekend, I saw on Twitter all the hype around the other side Metaverse, and I saw the clips of, 4,000 people jumping through this loop. And so I'm watching that and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I follow the account on Twitter because I'm keeping an eye on Metaverse things and want to see, which Metaverses are developing with graphics and popularity. And I had no idea that it was Ape. I didn't know that it was Apecoin. So I then, saw the hype around it and it got me to follow it. And then I realized, oh, this is Apecoin and that is helping. Obviously the news today, or not the news today, the big bull move today was helped by that weekend hype. And I just found it interesting that I followed the weekend hype without even knowing that it was the coin that was in play. So very nice, quick move up. And now we're going to watch for a 4-hour higher low on Ape. 4-hour inside bar broke bear. 15-minute oversold conditions are approaching. So burden on bulls to shape up a 4-hour higher low. And we're watching retracement size. The amount of this retracement is going to give us information in terms of probabilities. Can we hold 382 retracement to keep continuation as a possibility on the table? Or do we lose 382 retracement, pull all the way back, give back half of the move, and then create the space for the 4-hour lower high to be the result of the next bounce? So what 4-hour consolidation looks like in terms of retracement size is going to help us gauge the most likely scenarios. And so we can look at Ape and say, okay, well, 4-hour consolidation is underway. It's showing a little bit of weakness as Ethereum is not even seeing 4-hour consolidation yet. So a little bit more aggressive profit taking in Ape. And that's not surprising. Ape goes more significant percentage-wise in both directions on the bull moves and on the pullbacks. It's just more thinly traded. So a little bit of dollar volume goes a long way. Well, that volume is coming in there. $100 million on Binance today. More than that. And 8 BTC, 4-hour, consolidation underway. So again, it's doing the same thing. And if I'm looking to play 15-minute oversold, I need to see Ape USD and Ape BTC both bouncing from 15-minute oversold conditions if I'm going to have any confidence that a 4-hour higher low is shaping up. So that's a lot of information. Determine what time frame is most important to you. So with my trade on Ethereum from the $1,000 break, and because it's a smaller position, I only care about the daily and the weekly chart with that trade. Again, if it was a larger position, I'd care more about the shorter term time frames, but I don't. So I don't even really pay too much at I can't remember the last time I looked at the Ethereum hourly chart. Just doesn't matter to me in terms of any decision making. So determine what time frame is most important to you. Are you looking for 4-hour higher low bullish entries? Are you looking for bearish entries, thinking that this bull move up got a little bit extended and is perhaps marking a little temporary top, and if the broader stock market is going to reject from daily resistance and pull back for a couple days, then crypto is potentially going to pull back for a couple days as well. So you can definitely be looking in both directions. We should only be looking bull or only be looking bear right now, because even this big old Ape move is now almost down 8% from that high. So certainly bear opportunity there as well. Volatility over the last bunch of days, opening up opportunity in both directions. So we got 4-hour higher lows on watch. When we lose 4-hour uptrends, daily consolidation is likely underway. We will be then looking for daily higher lows with a lot of space for it to form. And we're watching closely to see which direction does the broader stock market break this tightening daily range. If it breaks bear from here, big red flag for Bitcoin to be a weekly bear flag. If it breaks bull and helps Bitcoin follow through to 25,000, then the odds of a weekly bear flag will decrease a bit. So that's the most important factor for me, what the broader market does, and the 4-hour trends are going to be our guides in the meantime. All right, I'm reading the chat room now. We've got maybe 15 minutes or so. S&P 500, potential bear flag, it already confirmed. So still weak there. And again, the more we pull back, the more space is being created for lower highs on the next bounce to potentially shape up daily consolidation. And that was some nicely timed Apple bear news for the bears to reject from those resistances. Netflix had a beautiful 15-minute double top fish. I played it bearish here, but I gave up on it here. All right, ADA. So first thing I want to know is, how is ADA compared to Bitcoin? Is it stronger or weaker? Stronger today, but weaker over the last month. So I would need to see ADA BTC confirm this inverse head and shoulders if I were going to have any conviction longer term that bulls were going to gain relative strength. So right now, ADA USDT daily resistance of 493 broke, but no real follow through. So we need more. We've been setting consistent daily lower highs. So bulls need to form the 4-hour higher low and follow through, because if not, we can just consider that a double top on the daily at 493. Yes, we broke it, but only by a fraction of a penny. So have to set the 4-hour higher low and see continuation. If we do not, it is a red flag with the double top. We're also not in a daily uptrend. Most altcoins that are breaking bull have daily higher lows and higher highs. ADA does not. It's coming from the low. So if we're going to get bounce follow through, we have to see a daily higher low and higher high. We don't have a daily uptrend at this point. The majority of altcoins do. Rune, so 253 was the top here. We broke it. It's an uptrend, but if the bull breaks, leads straight into consolidation on the daily, it's a weekly bear flag. Write this down. A lot of you know this already, but if you change trends and don't follow through, you zoom out and look for a flag. So if I'm in a daily uptrend and I lose the daily uptrend and there's no bear follow through, it's shaping up a daily bull flag. NIO is an electric vehicle name. Look at the daily chart. So the daily chart for me is showing me a break. This is a break of support straight into a daily bounce. A break of support straight into a bounce. A break of support straight into a bounce. That tells me zoom out and watch for a potential bull flag. A lot of altcoins and Bitcoin itself are doing the opposite. They are doing, who are we just looking at? Rune? They are doing daily bull breaks straight into consolidation. So if this move would lead into consolidation, the bear flag remains on the table, which is why the bulls want to set a 4-hour higher low and see continuation. What does follow through look like? Follow through looks like Ethereum, Matic. You break resistance for multiple days. You get multiple days of follow through. If you break it and that day marks the start of daily consolidation, that is no follow through. DOT. Did we do DOT? So DOT is very similar to ADA. It's coming from the low. We did break the daily lower high resistance level of 746. Great, that's a start, but not close to the initial bounce highs. And again, the stronger coins are way above those initial bounce highs. So I don't consider us in a daily uptrend yet. There's a little lower wick here, but that's not a significant enough pivot. I need a clear higher low and higher high. And again, all these other coins gave us that. Ethereum, very clear, higher low, higher high. So any name that does not have that yet and is coming off of the low is still technically not in a daily uptrend. So I am more skeptical of those names. Uni has been a stronger coin. It's tightening up, so multiple daily inside bars. And I'm just viewing this as a low, high, higher low, lower high, 689 key support. If 689 breaks, it's a head and shoulders. It's going from an uptrend to a downtrend. And then daily consolidation will be underway from there. So 689 key short-term level, you break that, you zoom out, and we scout a daily higher low to be the result of that pullback. One more note on longer-term bottoms. We have to confirm weekly trend changes. So even Matic with its big old move, this is great. We've got space for a weekly higher low next consolidation. But if we're talking long-term V bottoms, we have to confirm weekly trend changes. We have to pull back for multiple weeks. What happens psychologically in the market when that is taking place is you have the bears who got surprised by the bounce then say, aha, I told you, we're going to give it all back and head back to the low and drop to lower lows. And you see multiple weeks of red as that pullback happens. And then you hold the low and you see continuation. And anybody that entered short over those last few weeks is forced to cover. The bulls that bought the dip for the weekly higher low get their follow through. So the weekly trend changes are extremely important for me. Essentially, I can't say anything about a bottom being set if we do not have a confirmed weekly uptrend. And we're not close to seeing that happen. It has to play out for another month plus. And again, Bitcoin just doesn't have the space right now for a weekly trend change to try and shape up. We need a lot more follow through to create that space. Mana is definitely relatively weak. So again, Mana BTC for the last 3 weeks. Mana has been weaker than Bitcoin. We have to confirm this trend change. So we need momentum to shift here. I need Mana to start showing me relative strength comparative to Bitcoin. Mana USD, still a daily downtrend. Keep it simple. Top of the bounce, higher low, lower high, lower low, lower high potentially forming. This daily chart doesn't look extremely clear because we've got all these little wicks mixed in here. So just condense it down. Go to the 2-day time frame. Whenever I lack clarity, I zoom out. So this is nice and clear. This is a downtrend. And if we do not break 96 cents, it's just another lower high. So 96 has to break at a bare minimum if we're going to start playing some catch up. And just out of the Metaverse names, Mana is the weakest out of Sand and Ape. Gala's a stock, isn't it? Nope. Galaxy is a stock, but it's coin as well. If we don't break 5.9, we'll round up. If we don't break 5.9, daily downtrend remains. Have to set a 4-hour higher low next consolidation and have to see continuation if bulls are going to make any progress here. So again, any name that's in a daily, any name that is still setting daily lower highs is clearly weaker. Are we looking for laggards? You can be, but again, the fact that the broader stock market is rejecting from resistance has me hesitant to be aggressively looking for laggard bull moves. There have been some from last night into today. For example, Bitcoin, let's just compare Bitcoin and, who am I thinking of, GMT, to see what a laggard bull move looks like. So Bitcoin topped out at 4 a.m. and then pulled back until 8 a.m. on the East Coast here. This is GMT's 4 a.m. So Bitcoin did this and GMT did this. So that's a laggard move. The gains that GMT saw in that 2-hour span from 7 to 8 a.m. were among the most significant in the entire crypto space. It went up 11% while most names were pulling back. So that's what a laggard move looks like. And it certainly is accompanied with a lot of volume. But again, you see the laggard action, it's strongest when you got FOMO, and there's definitely FOMO out there. There's a lot of people that are cash on the sidelines waiting for lower. We know that. But the broader market, I mean, it just keeps going back to that. Because we are rejecting from resistance, it's cooling off FOMO. If the broader stock market was breaking resistance today on the back of this crypto move over the weekend, it would be intensifying the FOMO rather than cooling it off. But right now, it is cooling off. Sell the news on Matic, question mark. Take profit. Again, if you are taking profit, you can put yourself in scenarios where you can't lose. You can get back some gains. I would definitely be scaling out. I mean, for a daily volume candle with the daily RSI up around 80 and with the broader stock market reject, I'm definitely taking some profit, no doubt. But what I will do is I will take profit into strength, and then I will base the remainder of my position on the trend. So let's say, all right, I scale out half of my Matic position. I scale out a quarter of it at 80. I scale out a quarter of it at 90. And now I have half. And I just say, all right, I will hold this position as long as we are in a 4-hour uptrend. Every time we set a 4-hour high or low, I move up my stop loss for my half remaining position. So we pull back. If we pull back to 85 and then bounce, I move my stop up to there. Because when the 4-hour uptrend is lost, I stop out, and that means daily consolidation is very likely taking place. So I will do partial into strength and then the remainder based on trend. Any thoughts on starting a home garden for veggies? Yes, do it. Garlic is really easy. Potatoes are really easy. You don't even need a home garden. You just need some big old pots on a deck. I'm saying the broader market is a key piece of the puzzle that we need to be paying very close attention to. If Bitcoin divided by the Nasdaq, if this daily chart was doing this right now, I would be caring about the broader market less. As long as it's within this sideways range, the broader market is going to dictate what we do. All right, I'm out of here. I appreciate you all tuning in. Check out the broader stock market video I'm going to put out at the end of the day today. Again, every day we put those out, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Certainly very relevant for the crypto space. Still weak in the broader market. Watch those 4-hour uptrends in the crypto space. Don't forget to do good things. Thanks for tuning in.